Last Friday, Allison Cohn made her status FBF to a pic of me as a pipsqueak. Awkward. It got 59 likes and 12 comments. Impressive, Allie. Geico also has a comment on your Flashback Friday. Did you know Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years? Bet you didn't even know they made cars back then. And if you think your flashback is awkward, you should see our pic. Hashtag blurry. Hashtag over 75 years of savings.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
If you want a battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Hey, man.
You don't mind if I videotape?
No, you go ahead. It's like 1.5 minute increments. And then we blur out your face and change your voice, like on Dateline.
There's that series on A&E right now on Netflix, Gangsters.
Yeah, they're like,
and they always have someone in a dark room.
I went out with him for 28 years. He killed my dad.
Like none of these people could be on the record because they all get found like in a car trunk in the river.
You rolling? Are you recording? Henry Rollins back again. First of all, thank you for coming back. We were just talking about those shows like Murder, Inc., Gang Wars.
Right. They're very popular.
And they always blur out the guy's face because he'll get, like, as you said.
Oh, they'll get killed.
Yeah.
And there's this series, I guess an A&E series, and it's actually really well done. Drug runners, kingpins, queenpins, and the body count is really sad. And it's a lot of, New York in the 80s, crack, and people are just dying all over. And where I come from in Washington, D.C., same thing. For a minute there, they called it D.C. Death Capital, because per capita, it was like the place to go get killed for nothing. And they always have these people, like, shrouded in darkness with...
You can't know who I am.
Yeah. And it's like some woman, but it's like pitched down. Like
they modulate the voice.
I was married to him for 8 years.
All my best sketches, I think, are 25, 30 years after the fact. Like, I always thought it'd be great if, like, no, don't worry. We're going to modulate your voice. Nobody will know it was you. And then you have, like, a drug snitch. Just completely nothing changed. Like, you just film him, and then all you do is modulate his voice. And then the guy gets, like, he comes to you because he's going to get whacked. And you're like, we changed your voice.
Yeah,
what do you want from us?
Yeah.
He's like, but you didn't change my face. Well, Jesus Christ, if you're going to split atoms, who knew? Henry Rollins has his own podcast, Henry and Heidi.
Yeah.
Heidi's been filming you on the henryrollins.com website.
For years.
And odd things that people want to see Henry Rollins do. I saw you singing The Bitches Back by Elton John. And by the way, excellent job, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we have an iPad, as you do, and you can video. So we run errands all the time. We work at the office. And she's always turning it on. All of a sudden, I'm on. It's like, hey, and we're filming you. And she catches me off guard quite a bit. So the other day we're in the car and she turns on the radio and Break On Through to the Other Side by the Doors. We haven't aired that one yet. Comes on. And of course I just start, winging it. And she's filming it. And then we hit a traffic light and she pauses it. And Elton John comes on and I just start, goofing around. Because anytime there's a camera on, I got to start acting out. And so we posted it. You can post it on your website or whatever. And it's interesting the reaction you get. For us, we're just goofing around. It's all in fun. Who doesn't like Elton John? I'm a huge fan since I was like 11.
Yeah.
You get this email, like, who do you think you are? Trying to be Elton John. You're like, really?
I'm trying
You watched it for free. It's like, I don't know, 100 seconds of me just being a horse's ass. I offended you? You're all about yourself, man. You doing Elton John. Like, how dare you? Where do you get off?
I like the assumption that you were trying to be Elton John.
Yeah,
like
there
trying
I
to
am.
transport yourself into Elton John and his Pete Rose haircut.
Yeah, here I am with my toupee and my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
I believe you guys know my husband, Heidi.
Yeah. And it's just incredible. You do something and you're just goofing around, but that's public opinion. People get to have an opinion, but you can do anything. And I learned a good lesson not very long ago that it doesn't matter what you do, someone will find a way to run you down.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's been coming up a lot lately on this podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, I noticed it I was watching the news and George Clooney's on. And I was reading an article about him online. And I think he's a tremendous actor. Count me as a fan. I think he chooses his scripts very well. I think Michael Clayton, that movie, which I've seen 3 times, that was an Oscar that he was denied. Tilda Swinton got one because she's amazing and she killed it.
And she looked like Ziggy Stardust.
Yes. I met her once. She's tremendous.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
She is
I always
awesome.
like to hear it. Yeah. Good.
I interviewed her. She was really, really cool. Anyway, I'm a fan. So I read an article, and he's very kind of an aw shucks kind of guy. I mean, I don't know him. I'm just a fan. And they said, so wait a minute. South Sudan just became the newest country in the world. They broke from Sudan, and there's trouble on the border. And Mr. Clooney, you, with the money you make from that coffee thing he does, like little coffee cups you pour the water through, you've taken part of your money from that, which is probably an obscene amount of money, and you've put surveillance drones in the sky to monitor the border to make sure Sudan does what they said they were going to do with the border agreement. And you're helping people from getting killed just because you're cool like that. He went, well, you know what? It's a good thing to do. It's a new country. The border's unstable. He's been there. I've been there. And they need help. And it's true because Sudan is not playing well with South Sudan. And they're like, no, we're moving the border and we'll kill you if you get in our way. And all of a sudden, there's film surveillance. He's doing this just because he's a nice guy and he can afford it. He has a few odd dollars. So I find the postings underneath almost any article to be fascinating because when you can post with anonymity, you will finally write what you really want to say. Like if you can log on as like Patriot Squirrel number 141.
Milkman 420.
Yeah, you can be full frontal.
Right.
Here's how I am because no one will go, I know where you live. People are saying like, must be nice to be able to, fly some drones over a border in dispute. Ooh, like really? Damn, man. You can't do anything without someone going like, must be nice. I mean, you could cure blindness and there'd be someone like, oh yeah, so you're the cure blindness guy.
Way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, way to go. You must
now
think you're
Stevie
pretty
Wonder's
cool.
going to freak out because all these things to digest right before he dies. Way to go. But you know what?
And Ray Charles had a whole life of blindness. Where were you then, man?
Where were you?
And so,
where were you?
You must reconcile yourself.
Little
basically.
late, dude.
Yeah. Nice one. Good timing. You must reconcile yourself to the fact that no matter what you do, you will let down someone in this life. You will anger someone. And you could be Mother Teresa, like nothing but goodness and light. And someone like Mother Teresa, she cut in front of me at Denny's. I like someone will find something.
I know it was her.
She owes me $40. And so
my wife had a great take on the internet. She said it's the world's largest bathroom stall. You scroll whatever you want and you just move on. And then you come in a month later and you're reading and you go, hey, what did I do? How did I get in this?
Yeah.
It's just a giant bathroom stall.
And, if you're smart, you'll find times to not be on it. Because there's a whole life out there.
You could read books. You turned me on to Black Spring by Henry Miller.
Oh,
and I got to tell you, my friend, first page, I'm like I don't know what the correct word is. It just swallowed me whole.
Yep.
First page. And especially, I had it out. The boys you worshipped when you first came down into the street remain with you all your life.
Yep.
And that whole nostalgic but bittersweet, sort of acidic tongue way that Henry writes about just those guys, those older boys, those boys, like if you were 10, they were 13 or 14, and your need to impress them and be around them, and you can remember their names, like changing your
They
pocket.
knew the world,
They did.
and you didn't. And every once in a while...
And he describes them completely, like one guy's on the roof, like jacking off, and he's a preacher's son, and he's crazy. He winds up walking off a goddamn pier.
Yep.
But he like idolizes those guys. And when I read that, that's the first page and a half.
Yeah.
And I went, damn, Henry Rollins did not steer me wrong. Read Black Spring by Henry Miller.
It's a good one. You know, and Miller wrote, like 9 feet of books. And I've read about 8.5 of them. I don't think they're all necessary. In that when he came back from Paris, and Black Spring was written in Paris when he was like starving and lean and, really living wild. He came back to America, became successful later when his books were no longer banned. And as an older guy, you see him in Playboy playing ping pong with a naked woman. He's just kind of having an amazing, crazy life. And he came to Pacific Palisades to live. And he wrote a lot. And it's very happy and kind of fluffy. But the real meat of Henry Miller was all the writing in France.
George Carlin lived here, too. I move here when everybody moves out. He's dead. They're both dead now. Yeah. I got to figure out, I got to do like a cursory search of who's in the Palisades now.
Actually, it's your attitude, Chris. All right, Jay.
Well, Chris, because we were doing walking earlier.
Was it that?
You interviewed me on the Henry Rollins show. Is there a question that you wish you did ask at the time that you forgot?
Maybe I told you this, Jay. I apologize for that.
I don't care at all. What do I care,
it's
Mike?
not nice to offend people.
Yeah, I'm offended.
I was kind of humana in front of him.
First of all, I've read Get in the Van 3 or 4 times, and I know how you are, like sitting, media, any types of things like this. So just the fact that you're here twice, I feel kind of like...
I was very pleased.
I was pleased
when the call
as well.
came in. I was like...
So you calling me Chris, I could give a shit.
Heidi, the boss, said... she said, hey... another Jay Mohr podcast. I went, wow, okay. Well, that's cool. Because I really enjoyed the last time sitting right here with you. But when I interviewed Walken, I was a little intimidated because he's so Walken all the time.
Of course.
Yeah, you meet him and he's doing that thing. So either he's not acting or he's like that all the time. And we were all kind of like, wow, because we're all such fans. And I was kind of...
He's out there.
I was like, how do I approach this guy? Because he's coming from a different place. And I was like, and I just kind of sat there and froze. He looked at someone off camera, someone of the crew, and went like, you should be getting this. Isn't he great? And I'm like, I'm dead. I'm a dead guy.
Like when you were stuttering and stammering?
Yeah, I was like, and he's like, isn't this great? Look at him. And I'm like, really? I'm the dead guy in this interview. I'm the schmuck.
He was breaking your chops?
Yes.
Like he was that with
it?
it?
And I had barely spoken to him yet. I'm like, oh, man. But I pulled it out. I pulled it out. I made it work, but it really...
I saw that when the Henry Rollins show was up and running.
Yeah, they probably edited it out. But
it came across really well.
Well, I warmed up. But I must say, he put me off my game. Because anyone else comes in, and you're like, hey, okay, good, let's sit down and do this.
Yeah,
and he came in like, okay, where am I sitting? And then we're going to, get him a chair.
Yeah, but aren't chairs funny?
Do you have a restroom? I need to use it now.
Maybe if someone could get me a cookie to bring with me to the restroom. He when you want to hear a funny well, of course you do.
Please, yeah.
The year before I was at Saturday Night Live, he never hosted when I was there. But we were lucky enough to do a movie together way after the fact. But the year before I hosted, when you pitch ideas to the host on Saturday Night Live, you go to Lauren's office on a Monday night. Lauren's at his desk, and there's 2 chairs. Like, you're Jim Downey, the head writer. You would sit in that chair. I'm the host. I sit in this chair. And the entire writing staff sits on the floor. It's the serfs and the landowners. You are a serf. You're sitting on a carpet, crisscross applesauce. And then you go around the room, and everybody pitches their ideas. And then when it's all done, Lauren will go, you're hosting, for example. Henry, is there anything you'd like to do this week? Anything? And you would say... No, it's, because you're not going to start pitching ideas, right? So Christopher Walken, the whole time they're pitching ideas to him, is just staring out Lorne Michaels' window, and he's not paying attention to anybody's pitch. And people are like, hey, I got this idea where you live at the top of a truck ramp, those runaway truck ramp, and the whole room's and he's just staring out into space, into the ether. And then finally Lorne goes, and it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours to pitch, because everybody's got ideas, and there's 40 writers. And he goes, Chris, is there anything maybe you'd like to do this week? And then Christopher Walken, for the first time, just gets back into his body and goes, bass suits are funny. Ape suits as well, but bear suits particularly. Bear suits are funny. And everybody burst out laughing, and he got a look on his face like, what the fuck is so funny about that? And it wasn't until I worked with him on Suicide Kings that I brought that up. I wanted to know if it was true. I knew it was true because Mike Myers told me, and he wouldn't lie.
Right.
He's not a sensationalist. And he said, what nobody knew is that the Big Top was in town. The circus was at Madison Square Garden. And I was just looking out the window thinking about the circus and bear suits. So for me, it was a logical leap, but they thought I was crazy. But that was his bear suits are funny, ape suits as well. That's all he had for the whole week. He is out there.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, speaking of getting the van, 2 constants. No money, no sleep. And then sleep becomes like this mistress that kicks you in the nuts.
Yes, it's the elusive. It's the ether you chase. It's
but
that
you said
thing
you
you're
hate
always...
it because you need it.
The what?
You said you hate it, sleep.
Yeah.
Because you need it.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't need me.
Right.
I need it. And we were, very ambitious. And so I used to think I was a hard worker when I was doing minimum wage jobs where you just knock yourself out. And then I joined Black Flag, which was like boot camp. Because I could do a 12-hour day at, some job where you're doing the same thing over and over again for hours. But in Black Flag, all of a sudden you're doing 18-hour days, waking up at 4 a.m. with a fake credit card number to call England to get a tour going. Just all this stuff you had to do, or all of a sudden, you're like, okay, I'll just do that without sleep. And you realize that you can push yourself further than you ever thought you could. And it's not pleasant. You're like, wow, I really need to sleep. And we're playing in an hour. Okay, 2 sets. It's Texas. It's going to be about 120 degrees in the room, and I'm going to try not to pass out. Oh, just lost the drummer. Clunk, he passes out. And,
which one? Jeez, you guys were like Spinal Tap for a while.
Yeah, we were a hard band to be in. A lot of people had just left. But sleep became this thing that we would talk about. Like, yeah, there's a day off. And I trained myself to sleep anywhere. So I was used to a bed. I was raised middle class, normal, Sears and Roebuck underwear, a Sears and Roebuck bunk bed. I was SpaghettiOs in the Washington Post, a normal boy. And I came out to California, and all of a sudden I'm sleeping in folding chairs, sleeping on hard floors.
Under cars.
Yes. And you would sleep in deck chairs of hotels that you weren't staying at. And it's hard to get used to, but you get so tired, you would be sitting somewhere, and all of a sudden you wake up, you're like, whoa, did I just fall asleep? And you kind of learn to just make the floor your home.
You would have been a great soldier. Just dig a hole and lay in it. They get more sleep than you got in Black Flag.
Yeah.
But
that's how those days were. And when you're 21, 22 and mad, you can accomplish a lot because your rage keeps you up and your youth keeps you up. I mean, I don't know how old you are. I just turned 54. And I'm nothing like I was at 24 in that I don't have anywhere near that kind of stamina. I got to pace myself.
But that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, now you go on the road, you're doing speaking engagements and stuff. And obviously they're going to put you up someplace nice. You're a celebrity, whether you want to admit it or not. So you wind up at the Four Seasons. Let's say you're at the Ritz-Carlton in New Orleans. Is it actually hard to fall asleep amongst all the opulence and the thread count sheets? Is there like a Henry Rollins that leaves that and kind of lays on the floor next to it?
Here's what I do. And you'll laugh, but this is true. This is why podcasts are so perfect. Usually I sleep fully clothed without, no boots on. But usually I shower before I go to bed so I can just wake up and go. Get the hair somewhat together so I don't look like I just woke up in bed fully clothed. So I will sleep on top of the bed without a blanket or sheets. Why? Put a pillow over my head because I can no longer sleep without something covering my head from so many nights being on tour, sleeping at some guy's house in the middle of a post-show party. You put something over your head so beer or bong water or something doesn't spill onto your head as someone steps over you to flip a record. And to this day, I can't sleep without like a sweatshirt over my head or a pillow or a blanket. I need head covering because I just don't want your bong water on my head, even though there's no bong water that's ever going to be spilled on my head in my house.
Okay, you're alone. We'll mix it up. You're at the Four Seasons in like San Francisco. You're doing a reading. And you're just going to go fully clothed on top of that beautiful giant bed? Like, why? Like, at what point do you go, hey, Henry, It's okay, bro. Get under the blankets.
No,
go back to that Sears and Roebuck guy.
I go to the closet where they have, in the nice places, they have like an extra bedroll and all that.
This isn't going to end well.
So I go to the closet. I pull that out. One of the blankets. No, one of the blankets. Because in the nice places, they have like an extra comfort or whatever. I just roll that out and sleep on the edge of one side of the bed near my alarm clock because I got to get up the next morning. And I will sleep fully on top with this comforter blanket thing on top with like a sweatshirt pulled over my head. I do this at home too.
But you do put a comforter on your body.
Yeah.
From the closet.
Yeah. But I was a couple of years ago, I was going to be in very cold parts of the world for quite a while, like parts of China get boned, like Beijing in the winter is just brutal. And I was going to be in freezing Beijing, and I was going to also be in parts of Africa in the desert where at night it's just ridiculous. So I was training myself to sleep without a blanket in cold. And so I would leave doors and windows open at my place so cold air could get in, and I would just bulk up on like 2 sweatshirts and a pair of sweatpants and like something else, just so I could learn to not have a blanket on me and sleep and get used to that. And it took a few nights.
Yeah, but didn't you know that when you got to China, they were going to put you up someplace nice with blankets and comforters?
Yeah, but I just wanted to be ready to sleep in cold. And when I was in the Sahara Desert, I was in incredible cold with just a sleeping bag.
Oh, okay.
But the training I had given to myself helped me fall asleep quicker in a cold environment.
Oh, that's fair enough.
And I like training myself for adverse conditions just to see what I can do with it. I'm not a tough guy. I'm really not. And I'm not looking for how cold could I get and still sleep.
You say that often, and you said that in your youth, and even in Get in the Van, you say a lot about how you're not a tough guy. But you know what? I never went off stage and punched a guy and crushed his orbital socket in because he spit at me. You're certainly tougher than I am. You're definitely a tough guy.
No, that was stupid.
You're definitely a tough guy.
You know,
but why don't you get under the blankets? Why don't you reward all that work, lugging your own gear, sleeping in vans with guys from other bands, breathing their stupid beer breath on you, talking to chicks, and putting up with all that bullshit? Now that you're a grown-up, you're 54, go back to the Sears and Roebuck SpaghettiOs, Washington Post. Get under the fucking blankets. I said that like Dice. Get under the blanket, Henry.
I don't know. I just don't sleep well that way.
When you're under blankets?
Yeah, I don't know. I like to be able to throw the... And right now, I sleep with an unzipped sleeping bag kind of partly on me. Like the clothes you see me in tonight, right now, I'm going to be going to sleep in these without the boots on.
These are your pajama jeans.
Yeah, just Dickies and a shirt.
Yeah.
It's all cheap, so you can lose them and replace them easy. And I'll take the wristwatch off for comfort, and I'll just put this sleeping bag over me and an old blanket, which I've had since about age 6, which I, for some reason, still have.
Attaboy.
And that's how I'll sleep.
Do you read, like, Margaret Atwood, like her poetry about sleep?
No.
No? You never, what is it, variations on the word sleep?
No.
Oh, you dig it. I got Henry Miller, Black Spring, because of you. You would love Margaret Atwood.
Well, to honor your confidence in me on taking a chance with Miller, I will investigate that book.
Yeah, and
so before we leave, write it down for me, and
I will.
And I'll check it out.
You're a poet anyway, so I mean, you'll dig it because it's great poetry.
Oh, I'll give it a try.
Somebody's ringing my doorbell. I'm expecting no one. So you know what that means?
Oh, is that sound we're hearing?
Yeah, I'm not getting up. I should just open the garage door, and me and you should just, launch into my war.
Yeah, great.
Cover to cover.
But what you said when I just arrived about the podcast. Weeks ago, Heidi had this idea. She said we should do a podcast because I had just done a podcast with Pete Holmes. Is that his name?
Yeah.
You Made It Weird?
Yeah.
That's the name of his podcast. Nice guy. A lot of people check him out. And people write nice letters. Hey, I heard you on Pete. It's very nice. And Heidi said, we should do that. So I said, well, we have the microphones. All I need is the right box. So got the right box. My engineer pal came in, struggled with the software. We did it. He even taught a bonehead like me how to do it. and we did it, and somehow I got the mic levels right, and we actually pulled it off. And we're doing nothing very different than what you and I are doing now. But for a Luddite like me, it was a major accomplishment. I landed on the moon by getting two of us into a microphone.
I still haven't learned how to do it.
Okay,
I have to have Corey come to my house.
It's not that bad, is it? I mean, one can learn how to do it. And
is it something in me? I don't want to go like full Mark Maron and make it about me, but like, there's something in me where I refuse to accept that I could do this completely on my own.
You could do it in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I just.
If you don't want it, that's fine.
Corey's coming over. Maybe it's the only time we go over scheduling. That's my high idea, I guess.
You have what it takes. So we did it, and we did like 30 minutes of just the two of us, BSing with each other as we do, Heidi and I, because we can start an argument about anything. You have friends in the neighborhood.
All right, let's hit pause.
Okay, this is Jay's dealer.
My friend, does shaving irritate your skin, give you nicks, bumps, razor burn? You probably blamed your razor all these years and thought upgrading it every time with the latest gimmick would make your problems go away. But upgrading your razors usually just cost you more money and made you feel ripped off. What you really needed all these years was to simply upgrade your shave cream. Shaving gels and foams are mostly air. Air is not a lubricant. This can cause irritation and discomfort. That's why you got to go buy Cremo, C-R-E-M-O, Cremo. Is an impossibly slick foam-free shave cream. It comes in a tube, not a can. Almost any razor will glide effortlessly and comfortably over your sensitive skin if you use Cremo, with virtually no bumps, burn, or irritation. Don't waste money on complicated and costly razor blades. Get Cremo! At Walmart, Target, Walgreens, CVS, Pharmacy, you got to get the Cremo. I'm telling you, Cremo works. Red cap, white tube, Cremo. Hey, Jay Mohr here. Cold weather is here, and for many of us, that means dry, itchy winter skin. Instead of using the same old anti-itch products this winter, I want to challenge you to try something new. Tri-Calm. A recent clinical study showed that Tri-Calm is 5 times more effective at reducing itch than 1% hydrocortisone, which is a topical steroid. Tri-Calm works on skin irritations like the dry, itchy skin people get during colder months without the unwanted side effects of steroids. Plus, Tri-Calm is backed by the itch-free guarantee. If Tri-Calm does not stop your itch, you can mail them the empty tube and get a full refund. If you have dry, itchy winter skin, get a tube of Tri-Calm for your medicine cabinet, your car, your desk at work. Hell, carry one in your pocket. Tri-Calm. It's guaranteed itch relief that's 5 times more effective than hydrocortisone with none of the side effect of steroids. Find the white and blue box in the anti-itch aisle at Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS Pharmacy. Tri-Calm. Talking about the Tri-Calm.
Like a good neighbor. They're here.
There you go.
All right, so your podcast, Henry and Heidi, available on iTunes. Everybody go get it and leave nice messages.
Yeah. So we posted just the two of us. Heidi said, tell me a story about this. And, I got a million stories. And so 29 minutes, and we give it to the lady who does all of our internet stuff, who's incredible. She puts it up so people can listen to it. And within an hour, email starts flooding in. Wow, man, that was great. Really? Okay.
Did they email you real quick? Did they email you at henryrollins.com? Contact or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Get the word out.
And we've had that email address since like 1993. So at this point, how come you're not on the internet, my friend? Plug in your computer, you'll find me. Anyway, we get hit with so much mail, and all of it was one way. Well, I love this. Like, really? Because I'm expecting, like, oh, what do you think you're doing? But all the email was so friendly. And within 4 days, the thing has been listened to over like 10,000 times.
Yeah.
Okay. So a few hours ago, right before I took off to come here, we did a second one, which we're going to do a quick edit on, tighten it up just a little bit. It went a little long. And we're going to post it, I don't know, tomorrow. And so whenever it goes up, I guess it takes a few days. But this thing that's incredibly fun, very easy to do, like a couple of clicks and you are doing it. And apparently people like it. And I like the price in that there it is. Go download it for free. So
free.
How much can you complain if it's free? And I kind of made Heidi mad because as soon as you give me any idea, I want to take the idea in 80 million different ways. I said, wow, I could do stuff on my own. I could take stuff I've written but never released and read it, and that would be fun. Maybe an unreleased journal entry from the first day I did this or the first time I went here. And she said, oh, now you're making everything complicated. I'm just saying, no, Heidi, it's like, look at all the potential. Because I'd love to just have a forum to post something of just me saying something.
Content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's free, I love that deal. I love the idea of like, here's something for free. Don't complain. It's free. And I guess people can monetize things, and I have no problem with that. I just love this idea of here's something you can put on your phone or in your car and listen, and it will keep you company.
Yeah.
And I love that idea. And so hopefully she and I will do more of it. But it's
are you gonna have guests? Or are you gonna have like your friend? Because you
that's the thing. I have 2 microphones now. I now can. You know
You're
what
big league, man.
Well, no, my previous setup I used only to do my little radio show, and it's like one man, one box, one microphone. But now that I have 2 mics and I have some nice SM7s, which are really nice sounding.
Yeah. But then where does Heidi go if you have a guest?
Well, I'm just saying, because I do my radio show out of my office and send the parts to my engineer. Say my friend Ian is in town. I can now sit down with Ian, mic up both of us like you and I are now, and go, okay, let's put on some records and let's talk about the first time we both heard this Cramps single, play the single and talk about the time we saw the Cramps and Lux Interior fell on our heads. Which is, the man sadly has passed away, Lux Interior, one of the greatest frontmen of all time.
Yeah, leopard-skinned top hat.
Oh, amazing.
Tough to beat.
And just one of the greatest singers ever. And I have every Cramps bootleg I've ever seen. I'm such a fan. I've never heard him not be in perfect voice. He's kind of uncannily good, yeah. And I think that kind of potential is really exciting to me. And so I'm very happy about this new advent in my gearbox, having this new where I can plug in 2 mics and get something happening.
But plus, what I was going to say though, like you mentioned, Ian, your buddy from back in the day, but like all of your buddies from back in the day, that's appointment listening. Like if you could just pull Danzig out of retirement and talk Misfits, or get Jerry Only or somebody.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can take this on the road and set it up with your laptop.
And anywhere you go, whatever town you're in, like, oh, so-and-so's in town, I'll meet up with them before the gig, we'll talk for 20 minutes, and then you go back to your house, Henry, and then you can just add 20 minutes to that. And then, like I said, but basically what I'm saying is the people that you could interview are like, I'm getting excited at the idea of it.
Yeah, I love the idea because it is very portable, and the software is a little hard to install. Pro Tools is very proprietary. You have to sign up for the sign up to get signed up for the other sign up.
I have a Corey. I have a gal named Corey Fry. I record one like into my phone. Like sometimes I'll be driving and I'll just do like an hour by myself, and I'll just do some stand-up stuff that I'm working out, but I'll tell like a story. And then Corey comes over and I hand her my phone. I go, here you go.
Yeah, go play.
Put it up on iTunes. So you're much more technologically advanced.
Well, actually the installation of all that actually kind of brought me to my knees, and then I had to bring in my engineer pal, and it nearly... He nearly caved, but finally we got it to work. Well, he just said, I can't get this last thing to... And we went, oh, you have to do this. It wasn't in the manual.
Does he sleep under the blankets when he goes to bed?
No, he's a real human being. I wanted to be... You have things you wanted to ask me about, but at some point I have...
Ask me whatever you want.
Well, I have something...
I have one other question, and then it's all... I have 2 more questions, and then you want to flip it?
Well, there's a thing... As soon as I got in the car after... I met you, and we met you the second time and did this podcast. On the way home, I was like, oh! And I almost wanted to turn around and say 2 words to you. And tonight I will say those 2 words to you. And I can't wait. But what did you have to say?
I gotta wait?
Me?
You just got back from Uzbekistan. Every Ezistan that there is. There's much. Like 6 of them. You went there. And when we left...
I was about to leave, right?
Henry Rollins, you left here, you went to your car, and within about 48 hours, you were getting on a plane with a backpack to take photos.
Yeah.
In Uzbekistan?
I was in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. And then from there, I left that region. Because there's also Kyrgyzstan, but I've been there before. And I went from...
I heard George Clooney's got drones, just checking out those borders.
Checking me out.
Yeah.
I went from there quite a ways to Georgia... to Tbilisi, Georgia, down the road from where Stalin was born.
That's where the weightlifters live, man.
It's a really swinging city. I quite liked it. And then I went from there through Istanbul, where I've been quite a few times. It's really touristy now. It's not like it was.
I don't think of Turkey as the touristy spot.
No,
Like, you want to go to West Palm? Now let's go to Istanbul, Turkey.
Istanbul it's a lot of Europeans.
It's like Casablanca.
And it's a lot of backpacker youth and a lot of youth hostels, and it's nice. But I've been going there since I was young because my mom took me there when I was a boy, when it was really wild.
Hold on a second. Your mom took you to Istanbul?
Yeah.
When you were a boy?
Yeah, when I was, 11. Yeah.
She's like, hey, you don't want to go to school today? Because I can take
Oh,
us to go to
no. Christmas
Istanbul.
vacation. She was like art woman. So we're going to go to Greece and we're going to see the Parthenon and this museum and this gallery. And then from there, we're going to go to Istanbul, Turkey and dig the city and check that out. And I went there again in the...
So those tourists, those backpack people and those fanny pack people, they're annoying to begin with, but they're also kind of stepping on your memories a little bit.
Well, when your city is overrun by those people, and the city's now built for tourism, and so it's hotel, not exactly TGI Fridays, but a lot of Western places. Like, I love that place.
TGI turkeys.
Well, they want you to be at home and part with your money comfortably. They want you to have a nice experience. So you go home and you know what? We went to Turkey. Turkey, yeah, it was awesome. And it's nice, but it's overrun by Westerners where you're like, hi, yeah. Oh, you saw me play 3 years ago. Well, it's nice to see you. And so I did 48 hours there, and then I limped back to America. And it was basically, I got back on December 22nd. And I've been back in town ever since. But what's interesting about Central Asia, and I'm not some historian, but you know the basic history. Everybody went through...
Stuart Copeland was.
Well,
he sat there and broke Iran down to me for about an hour and a half, so go have at it.
Well, everyone went through Central Asia. Alexander the Great, the Mongols, the Chinese, the Greeks, and obviously the Soviets. And so you can see a lot of history, like in Uzbekistan, where I spent the most amount of time. I was in Samarkand, which is kind of the middle. And in 1230, early 13th century, Chinggis Khan, as he's called there, Genghis Khan, and the Mongols went through and literally flattened Samarkand. They just went in and went, boom, and they just razed the entire city. And there's a tomb of the prophet Daniel, and it is said that he is buried there. It's also said he's buried in a few other places. And so there's the tomb of Daniel. It's a sacred, holy place. And I asked the guide, and I had a guide with me. I said, so is there some kind of tomb or some kind of box where the remains are? He said, yeah. I said, did anyone ever open it and see what's in it? He said, yes. I said, was this ever explored? Like, is Daniel here? Because it is disputed. And he said, it is disputed. And I forget what year it was. I think some French or British archaeologists came in and said, let's see what's in there. And they pulled the tomb open, and it was bones determined later to be elephant bones. Yet, everyone just, look, it's bones, it's Daniel, shut up already. And there's a spring nearby, you drink the water, it's a holy place. There's this idea, if you're buried near a holy person, you're going to cut in line to get to paradise.
Yeah.
So a lot of people would like bury grandpa just near the tomb.
Yeah.
The earth moves. This is like 14th century. The earth moves, bones come out. This kind of thing fascinates me. So I'm standing with this guide, and I'm like, is that a bone? It looks like a bone sticking out. Wait a minute. There's a lot of bones. Wait a minute. There's a shoulder. There's a leg. That's a guy lying down in the dirt where the dirt has fallen and worn away. And he said, yeah. At that moment, the imam, the guy who runs the joint, comes up and he sees the guide all the time. So he goes, okay, who's the guy you got with you now? He goes, oh, this is Henry from America. And the imam sees that I'm looking at all the bones and I'm fascinated. So he goes, Mr. America, come with me. And he opens up the gate where you can't go, but he lets me in. He goes like, go have at it. A lot of bones. Go check them out. Knock yourself out, bone boy. And I find all this to be fascinating because you get to be junior archaeologist. And so the guide and I, we walk down this clay mud trail because people don't really go back there. So you kind of have to be careful not to tumble down the hill. And I said, can I just dig? The guy said, knock yourself out.
Specifically?
We're in Samarkand, Uzbekistan.
Okay.
Basically,
just resetting it for
the Midwest of Uzbekistan, kind of the center of the country. And I start digging around, and there's like a plate.
Wait. You start digging. You're with bones and mud.
Yeah.
And your instinct is, I'm going to start digging around.
Yeah.
Not like, I should put my hands in my Dickies pockets.
Oh, no, I'm curious. And so I'm digging away.
You're digging in bones. You're gonna have Legionnaire's disease or something.
They're old bones. Anyway, I'm digging.
Old disease?
And out.
I fucking got him. 1.5 podcasts, I got him to crack.
I find the handle of a vase. And you dig around it and you pull out like half a vase that's gorgeous. And you're like, wait a minute, this is like some serious history.
Yeah.
Where's the archaeologist? And he said, you know what? There's so much of this because Chinggis Khan leveled the entire city. You can walk 4 blocks from here and this is what you're going to find in the ground. Not the bones, but the pottery. So he humored me. He goes, yeah, knock yourself out. I'm pulling out oil pitchers, all kinds of parts of plates that are like painted and designed next to bones. So I said, okay. And finally my hands got cold and we left everything out. I said, okay, we're walking back to the car. I said, what did I just see? What centuries are we talking about? He said, the bones, 14th century. The clay bits, 13th century, 1230.
Whoa.
AD, I guess. I guess it'd be AD. And I said, 1230? He goes, yeah, Genghis Khan. I said, really? And then he said, yeah, he leveled this. You're seeing basically what the Mongols did to Uzbekistan. It was in your hands today. And having that kind of access to history, like in America, you can't walk up and be like, hey, let's go dig here. And like someone will kick you off the land or you'll get arrested or something. But
Thanks, Teddy Roosevelt.
In some parts of the world, the history is just kind of open and you can go. And several days later, I'm in Turkmenistan, which was fascinating. And understand that every day you're in Central Asia, a lot of websites. You're in your hotel room and you're trying to access the internet. Can't go to that website, that's blocked. Can't go to this.com, blocked. Can't read about the human rights records of these countries, which are appalling, or their dictator strongman president, because it's all blocked. Amnesty International blocked. Anything you want to read about prison records in these countries, block. My own website in Turkmenistan, I couldn't even get to my own website. Plus, you go on a website they don't like, they kick you off the internet for like 15 minutes. They put you in the sin bin. Like, hey, you think you're funny?
Penalty box.
And so in Turkmenistan, I meet this guide, young girl, educated in Moscow. So she speaks great English, and she's had a semi-westernized, like in Moscow, it's much different than Turkmenistan. I mean, everything's available. So she basically was kind of in the Russian New York for a while. Then she comes back to Turkmenistan, which is, don't go there, can't do that, that's closed, that's a government building, don't look at it, don't take a photo of it. That's a soldier, he's making you cross the street. Why? Just do it. So we're walking around, and she has nothing to show me but memorials of our independence from the Soviet Union, and look it up sometime, or don't. Do what you like. Jay, it's your world. Do what you want. But,
I do what Henry Rollins says.
But Turkmenistan holds the capital city, the name of the capital city. Corey, maybe you can look it up. I'm forgetting it right now. It holds the Guinness Book of World Records for white marble used in buildings. So everywhere you look, it is nothing but white marble buildings with mirrored windows with gold frames. Government buildings. You drive down like these multi-mile streets.
There you go.
Is it Ashgabat? Mm-hmm. Okay, I guessed it before you handed me that. Ashgabat. We're in Ashgabat.
You couldn't let her have it.
Well, no, it came to me. Anyway, you're driving by these massive buildings, like crazy-sized buildings. No humans out front except for soldiers. No cars. No, nothing. I go, what's that building? Ministry of Transportation, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Weather. What? And like I said, is anyone in those buildings? Because you can't see.
Right.
And it became fascinating, this idea of a government that is so huge, it's invisible. And I said, is everyone in Ashgabat, the capital city, employed in the government? Because there's no one on the street. There's no cars on the road, really. And there's these huge buildings that are awful, the most ugliest buildings, and you can't take a photo of any of them. So, of course, I'm sneaking photos left and right out of the window of the car. It was a fascinating country to be in. So there's nothing to show me because you can't go anywhere. So like, we'll go to the park, and there's some park with all these like statues of dinosaurs. Like, let's look at dinosaurs. We're looking at the dinosaurs. It's boring as hell. All of a sudden, there's two guys in blazers and turtlenecks walking with us. And I said, let me guess. These are plainclothes cops grooving on the Westerner. She said, basically, yeah. And they kind of get in your face, look you over, and my instinct is to basically just go like, man, what are you looking at? Yeah. Like, what's up? And you can't do that. No. Not there, because you really need to get home someday. So you just talk to the guide. Are we in trouble? She says, no, you're a Westerner. They know me because I always have tourists here, but they're just making sure we don't. I go, what are we going to do? She goes, I don't know. And the most fascinating part of the time there, we have lunch in this restaurant. An SUV, an Escalade pulls up, perfectly detailed, clean. These guys get out, and they look like scary knuckleheads, like guys who just like break your head open. And the car pulls away. They have a driver. They come in. They're obviously wise guys. And they sit down, and the waitresses come over and just start fussing. They make quite a fuss. And I said, maybe too loudly, do you have mafia in this town? And she's like, and they all looked up and looked at me, and she went, yes, yeah. And I go, what are they moving? She said, we have a lot of heroin coming through here from Afghanistan, and we have all kinds of stuff happening, and yes, they're mafia. I'm like, okay, because they looked like right out of Central Casting, and they all would they would come over and like break your arm just to say, hey, you should shut up. Yeah, yeah. And it's a fascinating city because the authoritarian overreach, everywhere you went, there's someone saying, don't ever use your camera. Like, no problem, man. Yet, crime is kind of like, hey, what are you looking at? The crime is kind of naked and operating, yet every third person's a cop or a soldier. It was a fascinating thing. And
they say you're not a real American until you leave America. And I guess when you go to places like Uzbekistan, and you realize,
well, you really see how different your life is, and how incredibly free we are.
I actually do have rights. Yeah.
That's oh yeah. No, the Constitution really does work for you most of the time.
You know, when Richard Nixon went to China, I think it's Richard Reeves wrote his biography, or it's Richard Reeves. And when that big China visit,
huge.
Everybody on the street when he was in his motorcade, like the guy walking his dog, the family, all actors. The Chinese government just hired like a lady putting mail in a mailbox at the exact time the motorcade. Like real Chinese people were not allowed on this because they were fucking starving and dirty.
Yeah.
So they like hired actors to just look like regular Chinese people, like, hey, two kids throwing a ball back and forth. And Richard, I was thinking of Kissinger, Richard Nixon just looking out the window like, there's fine people here.
Yeah. And that's when you go to Tibet in Lhasa, you drive, the Lhasa, the city is, restaurants and, again, touristy. But then on your way to the airport where the people live, retaining walls. Every once in a while, a door will open and you'll look at like, wow, that's a lot of mud you people live in. And then the door closes because that's where the people live. As a Westerner, you are not allowed to go in there. And they've built walls like nothing to see.
You'll start digging.
Well, have
you ever been to the catacombs in France? That's what I really want to get to.
I went to the catacombs, believe it or not. This is crazy. I went to the catacombs in the Sistine Chapel. They are now blocked off. You can no longer go.
You can't go to the catacombs anymore?
No.
This is heartbreaking to me. I really want to go.
But as far as I know, they've been closed. And you walk in there, and it's like 80 skulls over here.
80,000 skulls.
Yeah.
And
I was a little kid
still in their outfits.
with my mom. And
Your mom
take
took
this
you to the
tour.
catacombs.
She took me to the Sistine Chapel, which is staggering.
Has your mom ever heard of like Hawaii?
Well, she was art museum lady. She wants to go see all the museums.
She's cool as hell.
She's a pretty interesting woman.
And your dad was a bit of a square, right?
Yeah, he was like, I remember going to visit him on the weekend after I'd come back from Turkey. Where have you been? And I named all the islands of Greece I'd been to. I went to Santorini and Mykonos and Rhodes and Crete and Pompeii. And he just looked over at me like what a pussy. Because he's a PhD, smart guy, never traveled.
Never traveled?
No. He just didn't want to know. And my mom, I lived with her. She said, okay, I've saved my money for 3 years. We're going, kid. And you'd leave for 3 weeks and go.
It's fantastic.
It was good for, as a young person, like if I had kids, that's what I'd be doing. Like, okay, you're ambulatory. Let's go and see India, or let's go to Europe. Let's go see something different. My mom took me to London as a kid. And London, for a child, to see the Tower of London, the guard, the beef eaters, and all the ravens walking around. Here's the chopping block where they chopped off a lot of people's heads. You're like, damn! Big Ben. It's all fascinating. They had to
of course it is.
Pull me out of those
My mom
museums.
pulled me out of school to go to the farmer's market. I thought she was the coolest lady in the world. I can't imagine. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
She'd say, do you want to take just a mental health day today? And I was a complete fucking maniac in school. And, every once in a while, you got to let the air out of the tires and just, and my mom would just come into my bedroom in the morning and go, you want to take a mental health day? And we would literally go 2 towns over to the farmer's market for 4 hours. And that changed my life and reset my batteries. Your mom's taking you to see Big Ben. Your mom's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mrs. Rollins, well done.
Well, you get to go to their history museum, and you see the writing of Chaucer and Shakespeare. And it's mind blowing. And then you can go there as an adult. Well, I've been several times since as an adult, and it's even cooler. You're like, that's Chaucer.
You're a better writer than Chaucer.
Sure.
Chaucer's a bore. Goddamn Canterbury Tales. It's not a poem.
I had to memorize that stuff in high school.
Yeah, we all did. It's
I didn't know.
Worst. And they tell you it's a poem. You're like, really? Then how come we've been on it for a semester?
Yeah, I don't know how other schools were, but we had the English teacher.
How do you know? As a comic, if I think of something, or if my wife actually writes 60-70% of the act because she doesn't sleep. She's an insomniac. So
Lucky you have a writer.
Yeah, I'm sleeping with the writer. It's fantastic. And it's always funny. But if she hands me something, or if I think of something, I go, oh, I'm playing whatever, Cobb's in San Francisco, or the whatever place. I just know it's going to work because it was thought of between our 2 brains. But when you're doing spoken word, how do you know? That's ballsy. There's no bass solos. There's no guitars. Have you ever gone on stage doing spoken word going, I don't know if this is really going to cut it tonight? Or have you reached the point where just because you've decided that that's the piece that's going to be read, it's good and it kicks ass? That's why you need to go on stage and read it.
Well, I don't go on stage anymore and read anything. I just go out with a stopwatch, and that's it. And I just basically, the stopwatch is for the audience's benefit, so I don't go too long. And so anything
sounds boring.
I look down. It could be, but no one leaves. But people in the front row do always text and look up and just go shut up.
But why would anybody go to a coffee shop to watch you stand there with a stopwatch?
Well, no, I put the stopwatch down at my feet so I can look down and go, okay, I've been on for a stage for 2 hours. It's time to land this thing and let these people go home.
Oh, you are talking.
Oh, yeah.
You left that part out, Henry.
Oh, yeah.
But you said I just go on stage with a stopwatch. And I was like, what a weird performance piece. It's Maria Abramovich.
But I don't bring
stopwatch.
things on to read, and I don't have a set list. I just
Really?
go. No. I have it in my head. And the way I've tried to develop the material where I think, okay, this is going to communicate. And to me, what works, and I use that word in quotations, is it impactful? Will you understand what I was trying to get across to you? And you can disagree with it. You can go well, you said a horrible thing. Okay, fine. As long as you understand what I was saying. And so that's up to me to be clear, impactful, compelling. So the 2 hours flies by. But also, I am harder on my material as I grow older. And I'll come up with an idea, and I'll go, no, there's a story in there, but I haven't got it yet. It needs to steep more in my mind. I need to take more notes. And often I will either pace or I go to the valley, San Fernando Valley, park my car on Ventura, because you can just walk, and I'll just walk and talk out loud and go, okay, I'm running the story. I want to hear my voice say the story out loud. And you can walk for blocks and never see another human being when all the stores close. And otherwise, people just think, oh, he must have a Bluetooth in his head. People drive by and see me talking to myself, which you do see these days. Or maybe I'm just nuts. But I will actually work through the material in real time. Go, okay, it's good. It just needs work. So I'm going to say this story again to myself. I'm going to write things down, and I'm going to find the story in the story and make now it's stage worthy. Or, you know what? I thought it was good, but it's not. It's out. And so now I go on stage with hopefully material that is fairly unimpeachable. If it's historical, I've done my research. If I'm going to talk about the Constitution, I memorize the piece. If I'm going to talk about Lincoln, I memorize the chunk of the speech that he did in 1838, January 17th or 19th, the speech to the Young Men's Lyceum, gorgeous speech. And I go, okay, Lincoln said this, boom, 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 boom. And we should think about that because that's a really good idea. So I do my work. So when I go on stage, nothing is like, well, and I'm not interested in being on an edge where I'm going to go out and I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know how it's going to go, but I don't go out with nothing and go, well, I'm just going to have to pull it out of my guts.
Yeah, at least you know you're prepared enough where if it doesn't go, it's not because of you, it's them. That's comics reach that level too, where you go and do your show and you go, well, this shit, I got a standing ovation last night saying these exact same words, so I think it's just kind of a hinky crowd.
Right. But basically...
But that's what's great about the podcast.
Well, I'm just trying to do my homework.
Yeah.
So by the time you're paying $30,
yeah,
I'm not ripping you off by coming out half-assed.
Yeah. You've never been in the rip-off business.
No,
you're quite the opposite.
And like you and a lot of other people on stage, you love your audience. I mean, like they came, they showed up.
If they don't come, I don't have a house. I don't have a living. They've given me a great life.
Yeah, you're the tree in the forest that falls unwitnessed. And like, why bother if no one can hear you crash? Why bother falling? And so my audience allows me to exist. I justify my existence by looking at them. Like I am here because there's an audience here. I must be here.
Yeah.
I can't serve them weak broth. I got to give them the best I've got. Be it music.
Henry, that's what's great. That's why it's great you're doing a podcast. And it's Henry and Heidi. You get it on iTunes, anywhere. And anytime, if you get an episode up, and tweet it or text me, and I'll make sure I retweet it so we can expand it. But what's great about a podcast, it's appointment listening. People are listening to me talk to you, already have my sense of humor, and they go, oh, Henry Rollins again, good, I like the last talk. So like everything we're talking about and all the guests, it's appointment listening. So people that are subscribing to your podcast, those 10,000, 20,000, and it's going to be 100,000 by the end of the month, whether you like it or not, it's appointment listening. So the comments are going to skew so much more positively than in any other form of social media.
Well, it's not being forced upon them.
Right.
And I love that. It's an elective. No one's twisting your arm to make you listen to this.
One more question, and then you can ask me the questions. But you only have one question for me? You can ask me anything you want.
Oh, okay. Well, I just had this thing that you and I have something in common, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
You made zero money for so long, which always surprised me because of the amount of people in the audience when you're playing these places, especially like when you hit like 1985.
Yeah, but they're paying $6.
All right, but still. I mean, comparatively to a guy that fixes air conditioning, you would think, Black Flag, there's money to be split up at the end of the gig. That was not the case.
No.
What I wanted to ask you, I don't want to know what you made. That's your business.
I'll tell you. It's no problem.
No. I want to know what was it in your life where you went, wow, I'm like making like money.
Oh, I can tell you all that.
Okay.
In the Black Flag days, from 1981 to 1984, we got either $5 a day. I'm not kidding. And you would look at a Denny's menu, and you would just sit there. It was like, okay.
When you listen to the music, you're like,
how can I do this?
There's no money for these people. It's the fucking soundtrack of our lives.
And so, yeah, well, but
I know
you're starving in your van, and DOA, the great band from Canada, they're flying by. They're starving too. I mean, all these bands, everyone is just like eating their own fingernails, and so. In 1984, you'd get this weird staggered. We called them the dole. You get your dole. You get $5 one day.
Who gave it to you?
One of the road crew. He just had the wad of cash.
Did it come from the record company or did it come from the clubs?
It came from us. We're on the tour. We're living on the tour, and one guy has all the dough.
But who gives him all the dough?
He does the business at the end of the night.
Okay,
so he just has it in his pocket. So you get $5 one day, and either $7 and $7.50 the other day. It makes no sense. We were just crazy. And then 1985, I forget what we were getting a day, like $15 a day. And then in 1986, we were all making $150 a week. And I don't know how that amortizes into 2015 money, but it was pretty good in that you could buy some records, you stayed fed, you could function.
Yeah,
because none of us were paying rent.
It's disproportionate, though, because you were filling rooms because of the trade. Like nobody, like the air conditioning guy, maybe he doesn't make as much money as Black Flag in 1986, but he's not. There's a lot of air conditioning guys in the Yellow Pages at that time.
Yeah.
But like if I'm going to the Palladium to see Black Flag, there's 1,000 people there. You're the reason they've assembled. You would think it'd be a little more.
But also, I was never privy to the breakpoint, what the gate was. There's a little bit of I forget what's the conflict of interest, I think they call it. The old bass player, Chuck Dukowski, became the band's manager. He and the guitar player, Greg Ginn, started a touring company who booked our tours.
Yeah, they're double dipping, right?
So Greg gets his salary.
Yeah.
He also gets a percentage of the tour because he has a tour company that he said, hey, I'm a tour company. And we all went, okay. Because all I know is $150 a week and a punch in the mouth every night at 8 p.m. And so I don't know how much money was made. All I know is that's what I got. It could very well be other people in the hierarchy were doing better. All I know is that's what I made. And so I started my own band within months of Black Flag breaking up.
Rollins band, was that early?
Yes. 1986.
You didn't
Black
come
Flag
on
broke up in July of 86.
Yeah.
By October of 86, I'd done my first solo record. By April of 87.
You didn't come on my radar solo till like 8. Wow, I didn't even know it was
I hit the ground running because I realized if I don't hit the ground running, I have to get in front of this and keep going. Mm-hmm. If I wait for 2 months and have a pout,
it goes by.
I'm done.
Yeah.
So the day Greg Ginn called me and said he quit, which was odd, I wrote 2 songs that night. Within a few weeks, I was in Leeds, England, with a buddy of mine who became the guitar player in the Rollins band, another guy from D.C. who's living in Leeds. I called him. I said, Chris, because we'd always promise each other, one day we'll make a record together. I go, Chris, Black Flag's broken. He's like, great. Give me 2 weeks. I'll get a band together, come out here, and we'll just write and record out here. I'm like, man, I'll try anything. I had enough money to get one of those cheap standing room, only tickets on Pan Am. They had the cheapest flights to Heathrow. And I took a bus from Heathrow up to Leeds.
For the listener, Henry's face, like it almost lit up like a kid talking about like, bro, we had the best seats at Fenway Park, man.
Oh, well,
it was great.
A broke guy could get somewhere.
A visceral, great memory.
Yeah, it was a few $100.
No, I enjoyed it.
And so I took all the money I had and I went out to England with Chris and we wrote a bunch of music and it came out as an LP and an EP. Now it turns into 1987. By April, I have a band in a garage in Trenton, New Jersey. We are rehearsing. We're writing songs like they're just happening. And that became the first Rollins band album called Lifetime. But we were writing the first day we all got together. By May of 87, we're on tour. By October of 87, we're making the first Rollins band album. And so we went, basically write, record, tour relentlessly. And I did that pretty much nonstop for about 25 years. And so around 1990, the band is doing very well, catching on, and we're playing anywhere they'll give us a gig. We are we're playing in Eastern Europe. We're playing anywhere you will give us a stage. We're being smart. We're taking every gig. This is what you should do.
Sounds familiar.
Well, sounds
like how it was when you were in Black Flag.
Yeah, but with Black Flag, we're blowing out these places. I take my own band on tour. 9 months after Black Flag broken up, 20 people in the audience, 12 people. And like promoters I've known since I was a young man saying, Henry, I know your guarantee is $400 whole dollars, but we made $175 tonight. And I said, can I have all of that? Because I got to get a van full of hungry people with broken strings and drums
Prague.
to the next city.
Yeah.
And that night would be like Cleveland. But I said, can you do that, Henry? This band's going to be fine. You come back next year, we'll blow this place out. 88, we come back and do all the same places, sold them out. It took a while. And then the band starts picking up steam. And then by 91, we do Lollapalooza. And we have this album called The End of Silence that we're going to record at the end of the tour. We played those songs every night for night after night.
What album was Liar on?
The one that came after Wait. that was recorded in 93, released in 94. So the band is going from strength to strength. Lollapalooza in 1991, all of a sudden, instead of 700 people in Minneapolis, 8,000 people in Minneapolis are now seeing you because thanks to Perry Farrell and Lollapalooza, he put us on tour.
What fell?
Some kind of monitor you had plugged in against that wall.
Oh, it's probably my phone.
But it went perfectly into that basket.
Yeah, I have psychic powers.
But
Perry said, "You go on after body count.
You're going to go on first, man.
He's the best.
And it's going to be great. And people will like
You're
you.
going to be their coffee, man.
You're going to wake them up. It's going to be beautiful." He's a genius and a demon.
He's a good friend.
He's amazing. And that's one of the best damn bands I have ever seen live. They will crush your body.
People are tired of me talking about it.
Oh, okay. Well, I was so lucky to have seen them as many times as I did. I saw them, I don't know, like 50 times, just because I would tour with them.
So Lollapalooza is when you started getting checks where you went, well, there's a comma in this.
We finished the tour, and a few weeks later, we're in the studio making this record. And, sometimes you finish a record and you just have a feeling like, wow, I bet this is going to do pretty well. The time was right. It's a good record. And we put the record out, and Tower Records, Album of the Year. We're on tour with the Chili Peppers in Europe. We're on tour with the Beastie Boys in America. A lot of things went our way. And a lot of people, more people than ever come to see us, were seeing us because we're opening for these fabulous bands. And it was in 1992 that I started making money. Like, wow, I just got a publishing check to where all of a sudden my rent is now handled. And my manager at the time, very good person, and managed me for many years, he said, "I'm going to take this much of your money." I said, "Yeah?" He said, "And I'm going to pay all of your rent for the next 12 months. So for the next year of your life, you're no longer freaking out at the end of the month." Because that was the indie band dilemma. Like, okay, it's the 28th. None of us have money. So you're on the phone in Budapest calling home. Can you, to your roommate, can you float me? Because you can? Thank you. Okay, another 4 weeks of my life have been covered because you're broke ass. And by 92, I now had money. Not like I'm buying Ferraris, but I'm covering my rent. I've got a bank account and there's money in it. And from 92 onwards, there's never been a year where I wasn't doing better than the year before.
Well done.
And
you work harder than anybody, any of your peers, I think. I mean, your work ethic is crazy.
I just like to work.
And I tried writing every day, like you said last time we spoke.
Yeah.
I got about 6 days.
Oh. Well, it's
hard, but I did get a bit out of it.
But good. I enjoy it.
A bit.
I was down the road from here a couple of hours ago.
At the Starbucks.
Yes, getting my...
Same place as last time. This is our routine now, Henry.
It is.
We meet in my garage.
Yes.
And you go to Starbucks and you write.
Right. But I try and do 1,000 or 2,000 words a day in the journal and then whatever else. And yesterday was about 1,000 words and the LA Weekly article. So it's a discipline. But...
So I should get back to it.
Well,
especially being a comic.
Also, I enjoy it. And I have a lot of...
That's the big difference.
I have a lot of free time that you might not have.
There you are on stage at Lollapalooza with body count. There you are.
Yeah.
Right there.
I would go out there a lot with Ice-T.
What?
He turned into a good pal. He's a very, very smart man.
He's a good dude.
He's a fascinating guy.
An OG. He's an original guy.
He is the real thing.
6 in the morning.
I would sit with him. He came up to me the first day of Lollapalooza, and I'm like, whoa, there's Ice-T. I'm going to meet all these people. I was really looking forward to it. And he walks up to me, and he said, "Man, I've always wanted to meet you. Man, you're great." And I said, "Wow, okay." And we became friends just like that. And we would spend, because we were both on pretty early, and you can't get your bus out. And this whole tour kind of move as a pack. So you're there for the rest of the day. And by 11 a.m., I'm done work for the day. I can just walk around. By 1 p.m., he's done. So we'd find the catering tent and just sit down and talk. And he gets to telling stories. And like, shootouts he was in. And this is like old .38 revolvers. This is like
service revolvers.
Some old,
hot ones.
Truly old school running and gunning.
Back when he was
and you're
Tracy.
like, why are you still alive? How did you survive that? And then you meet the guys in his crew, the Rhyme Syndicate guys, and they're all like him. They're coming from, he did 8 years for this. He did 10 years for extortion. He kidnapped someone and did 10 years at some terrifying prison. And they're all nice to me. Hey, Henry, like, they're all friendly to me. And I'm talking to them every day. And then I said, man, you got to come out on stage with me. I'm like, done. And I ended up going out on stage with him almost every day for like a week at a time. I'd do like every show with him and do like 1 to 3 songs. And then they'd play in LA and he'd call me, hey, we're playing tonight. I said, oh, I'm going. He said, you got to come sing with me. I'm like, done. And we'd sing, Cop Killer, that song Voodoo, There Goes the Neighborhood.
Is that when would Perry and him do Don't Call Me Whitey?
Yes. And they did
That's
that.
Powerful shit.
They did it in Atlanta. And
it was malevolent.
They were
nose to nose.
Man, it was really...
You wouldn't think they were friends.
Right. But the tension that started in the audience, because everyone knows that everyone's cool, that Ice is on the tour, and it's a big love fest. But no one in that crowd had probably heard that song before. And there's some pretty choice language in it. Without music, it's very stark. These two guys.
We'll play the original, not the Perry.
Okay.
We'll play the original watered down version on the way out.
It's quite shutting you up and making you pay attention.
Yeah.
And I remember I think it was Atlanta. And I was like, oh, great. Really? Really, you guys? And that's classic Perry Farrell. Like, where are you going to do it? We'll do it in Atlanta, where you could probably make something catch on fire. And so it was in the early 90s where I started getting paid, and it changed. It was perhaps the most profound challenge of my adult life in a very interesting way. I mean, I've had some bad luck and bad things happen to me in my life, and bad things happen to people around me, and that's been very hard to walk with. But one of the biggest challenges I've ever had, and I feel like such a jerk for saying it, because like but is handling money, handling being rich, basically. I can't say it any other way and make it not sound as crass as that, and not be coming into comfort, or not kind of putting my head where it doesn't shine, where the sun doesn't shine. Like, how do you keep it real? Like, you can. I saw a great interview with Bruce Springsteen.
You don't have to keep it real. Keep it right.
Well, but I saw a fascinating interview with Bruce Springsteen, who I'm very convinced is probably a really good guy. And he said, man, I went all over America trying to find a place to live. I made a lot of money, and I just couldn't find the right house. And then I figured out I just can't justify living in a nice place, knowing what I know and seeing what I've seen. So I finally just said, look, anywhere is fine. But I just put it off for so many years just because I can't. How can I write a song about working people from a $10 million house?
I'm driving a stolen car down on Eldridge Avenue.
And a guy like Springsteen would have a problem reconciling.
Yeah, he sleeps under the blankets too, Henry.
And that's fact. He can do whatever he wants. I'm a fan. I think he's a good man.
Great writer.
I've never seen him live except for one time, and I thought it was awesome. But what I'm saying is, it's been an interesting challenge. And Leonard Cohen once said to me, Leonard Cohen spoke to me once.
Let's just take a time out. That's like
huge for me. I was quaking in my boots.
Pretty cool.
And I introduced myself to him. I said, how do you do, sir? He goes, Henry, I'm very well aware of who you are. I was like, okay. You've written many books. I'm like, I write books.
You wrote Famous Blue Raincoat.
Henry, you are very prolific. I am not. And I was like, that's okay. He blew me away. And he said, one of the biggest challenges you're ever going to have in your life, because he said this to me like 88 or 89. He said, you're going to be incredibly successful. One of the greatest challenges you will ever have in your life is balancing art and commerce. And I said, I'm never going to have commerce in my life. I reconciled myself to SpaghettiOs and thin futons. I just figured that was it.
I threw art out the window a long time ago. It made life a lot easier, Henry.
Well,
but I guess when you're a comic, there's no art. It's a service industry.
Well, I'm not. I love that you said that word, because I say that word service all the time.
Yeah, my job is to make these people leave hurting.
Happy. Yeah, hurting from laughing. Yeah, I get it. I can totally dig it.
So take your art and your alternative comedy and shove it up your ass, because you can't move a fucking crowd like I can.
Yeah, and I have always found myself in the service industry. I'm a yogurt machine. Like, there you go. I'm out I'm outputting. I'm making a book. I'm writing this thing. I'm making the radio show for you. I'm doing this podcast. I'm outputting. The applause is nice, but I'd rather just take this from me. Henry, we want to give you something for your birthday. I really don't want anything. I just want you to keep paying attention to me. Keep showing up. That's all I need from you. I don't care about the money or anything. Please don't stop showing up to this show. You stop showing up, man, you're gonna break my heart. Please don't.
Back to the shed.
And it gets back to that. Don't break my heart by not showing up. Right. And it would kill me if they stopped showing up. And it's not a financial thing. It's like, don't.
No, it's look at me, look at me, look at me. They,
and
that's
please
why
don't
we
leave.
get into show business. Look at me, look at me, look at me.
And you have this crazy unconditional affection for the audience. I love these people. I don't know them, but I need them way more than they need me. And that's the thing that keeps me getting up pretty early running at it, because they got lots of options. I don't. And so over the years, getting wealthy to where, okay, I'm going to buy a house. Well, damn, I just did that. And having that kind of mobility, how do you stay focused, thin-skinned, thin-blooded, and like still angry to get it done when you can afford to fly business class or first and, just kind of live differently? Thankfully, my lifestyle is not a lot different than how I've ever lived, in that I do pretty well money-wise, but I still microwave my food. The way you see me dressed, the way you're probably the same like me. You just want to get the work done. You don't need the trappings. You just want it. Because I'll sleep in a Motel 6. I'll sleep on your couch.
You know what's in my contract, Ryder?
No.
I need a bottle of orange Gatorade.
There you go. And you know what's in my contract, Ryder?
Little Visco. What?
I have nothing.
Nothing?
I bring everything myself.
Really?
Yeah. It's just that. So TMZ found your contract, Ryder. Yeah, read it. Oh, yeah. When I'm touring with a tour bus, you've been on a tour bus. I got my little kitchen.
I've actually never been on a tour bus.
Okay, well, there's a microwave. There's a little kitchen area. I'm microwaving my pasta there. If I want a cup of coffee, I'll make it. I'll bring in my own. So when sometimes the venues, they're very nice. Can we bring you something? Oh, nope, I'm good. I got this. I got my water. I got my Gatorade.
It's so funny you say that, because I always say to the promoters and the people at the theaters and the clubs, and corporate gigs especially, I always say, if I'm not the easiest person you've ever worked with, then I've failed.
That's what I try and do.
And then the next 24 hours, you just prove it. They're like, you don't need anything? You're like, no. What time's the show? 8. What time would you like us to come get you? 7:55?
Yeah,
we just walk downstairs into the ballroom. I'll be ready.
I pride myself on being the easiest production you've ever had in your venue. I love that. And every once in a while, I'll get someone new in my crew, new merch guy, and I sit him down. I go, okay, this has probably been said to you by the road manager. And I know that you're a good guy. Otherwise, my road manager wouldn't have hired you.
Right.
And my road manager, thankfully, is a shrewd judge of character. And I've had great crew people for the most part. I said, you represent me. You're going to be selling merch to my audience. If you want to read any of these books, that's fine. If you don't, let me give you the Cliff's Notes on the 3 books you'll be selling. If I ever hear one thing of you were rude to anyone, even the showrunner, the day runner, if you're rude to any of the people who come up and buy a T-shirt from you, if I hear one thing, you and I are going to talk again, it's not going to be good. Please, man, you represent me. No writing on the walls. Be polite to everyone in this building. They're nice people. Yeah. They're going to take you to a hotel. They're going to take you to the gym. They're going to be nice to you.
And they work harder than we do.
And believe me,
a lot harder.
We don't work for a living.
Right.
They do. Yeah. And everyone gets it. And I like to be that guy to where after, like, Henry, can't wait to have you back here again. Thank you, because I'm really going to need to come back here again in 18 months.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy being that guy. And the older I get and the more good things happen to me fiscally, whatever, my reaction is, okay, I used to work 20 hours a day. Now I want to work 22. Now I just want to do more because I don't have to.
I'm going the other way, but maybe it's because I have kids.
Well, several minutes ago, I said, I don't have a lot of things to deal with that you do.
Oh, okay.
And I meant that not in a snarky way whatsoever, quite sincere.
No, there's no snark here at all.
You have kids. I don't.
Yeah.
I have been around parenthood.
You're a lone wolf.
Well, I'm a single guy living alone in my building, and I have a passport. So if I want to go somewhere, there's no one saying, when are you going to be home again? Unless it's agent, attorney, accountant. Someone saying like, hey,
the fun squad.
Well, you got to show up to do this thing because you promised. A lot of where you're doing when your kids were extremely young, I'm sure it's like, wow, it's 4 a.m. and it's vomit. Awesome.
Yeah.
I never had to do that unless it was the drummer.
And I got to be on Kevin and Bean at 6:10.
Right.
Yeah.
And so parents have a full-time job besides their full-time job. I never had that. Never had the wife where,
you'd be a good dad.
You're having a
man.
meaningful relationship with another adult. You got to be there. I never had any of that. And so I was able to go, well, I'm going to write for the next 10 hours. I can just sit and do that without being the bad dad, Dad. Right.
Dad. Look what I'm doing.
And if you're a dad, how can you not want to watch? He's trying to communicate with you.
Oh, believe me, there's times you don't want to watch at all.
Yeah,
I'm standing on one leg. I know.
Yeah. But at least
believe
he's...
me. I have a chapter in one of my books, No Wonder My Parents Drank.
Right.
And it's when the title of the chapter is actually my wife wrote that entire chapter. When did I become so fucking interesting? Why must I be tethered to you? Like when we were kids, you woke up, you got out of the house, you didn't come back till it was dark out. Now it's like, Dad, look what we're doing. Look, see this paper? We moved it. And you're like, you guys are dicks, and that's not interesting. But you can't say that because that would be abuse. What's the thing you wanted to ask me, Henry? We're rounding third. Nobody's covering home. We've got a clean spot here.
Okay. Phil Hendry.
The best.
Right. And I know because you were I think you were interviewed on
Bobby Dooley.
And because I am a solid podcast subscriber. I was in the audience the other night at the Hollywood Improv. Saw the promo clip of you, or you were going to be there. And I'm such a fan. I think he's a damn genius.
Well, there's
nothing close to him.
He's the kind of genius where when he was sitting here and we were like ad-libbing and goofing off and he's doing Bobby Dooley and stuff like sitting, like I'm looking at a grown man.
Yeah.
And when I did the Bobby Dooley podcast that he used to do, I don't think he does it anymore.
I don't know. I was lucky enough to be interviewed by Bobby as well.
Yeah. And you're sitting there for an hour and a half and there's this large, rugged, he's a man's man.
He is.
He's got a big beard. He's got big forearms. Like he looks like he should have an anchor tattoo, And he's and halfway through, you're like, you're in a rabbit hole, and you're laughing so hard.
Yeah.
But you know what? He showed me a magical out. When you're laughing, when you're doing a character like that, and you start to laugh, because I couldn't hold my shit together, but I saw a tell that we talked about, and when he started to laugh, he went, I'm sorry, I just get choked up about these things.
He does
and
that.
I've used that ever since. Like if I start laughing in a scene, I'll just be like, sorry, I just get choked up about if it's audio only. They can see if you're laughing, it's video. But Jesus Christ, you're being interviewed by a grown man acting as a woman, and then halfway through, like you forget it's him. And you're talking to his batshit lady, Bobby Dooley.
Yeah.
And here in the garage, madness, wonderful, and a good friend.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And when it was like a year ago, several months ago.
Everybody Google search Phil Henry, Bobby Dooley.
And get the podcast. I mean, do it. Anyway, I got the email. Hey, Phil would like you to be on. And I fairly jumped into my car and just like drove at him immediately.
You
I was
listened to his
so
radio
happy.
show for so long.
I've been a fan for 10 years now.
Yeah.
And so I meet him and we do the thing and he said, I've always wanted to meet you. I had a boyfriend. I wanted to see Black Flags. I love that song, Black Coffee, Black Coffee, Black Coffee. And he had tickets to see ELO or like some awful, arena rock thing. And I wanted to go see Black Flag, and he was jealous that I wanted to see you. And so I said, I want to see Henry Rollins and Black Flag. He wanted to go to the Forum and see whatever it was, Styx. And, of course, I said, I'm not going. I'm going to go see Henry Rollins. Chair, door, table, chin, eye, broken rib. And I said, stop hitting me, door, refrigerator, floor. act like the boyfriend's beating the hell out of him. And I said, Bobby, that's awful. So obviously you stopped seeing him. We got married 6 weeks later. I said, I guess you didn't go to the Black Flag show? No, we went to go see Styx. It was great. It was great. Mm-hmm. And towards the end, I said, Phil said he sat across from you on an airplane flight from Chicago to L.A., which probably happened and I didn't know. And, of course, I can improv with anybody. I said, yes, I was sitting near him, and he had his hands in his pants. He was playing pocket pool. I said, like he was training for an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
And I said, did he have the magazine with the she-males? I said, I've never seen a picture like that. I didn't know there's magazines like that. It's like, Phil loves she-males. It was just the most bizarre hour of my life, and I left sore from laughing.
Did you ever see the YouTube of me and him at just off the cuff right here in the garage?
No, I'll find it. Because he likes you. He talks about you.
I love him. I'm trying to talk Bobby into doing a scat film, like German. Like I'm going to, glass table, and I'm going to defecate. And she's like, so I just, and she just keeps, like she is playing completely naive. Like, I lay under the table, and then what happens? And then I just keep explaining it, and it gets more and more perverse. And he just plays ball. He's the best. You know what? That's what's great about podcast. Guys like you, guys like me. Now, right before I go to bed, I'm going to text my friend Phil Henry and say, me and Henry Rollins were just talking about you. How are you, my friend?
Oh, good.
That's what's great.
Yeah, I wrote him. I saw him at the Hollywood Improv, and he does this amazing one-man show where he just goes into character and talks to non-existent people. Like Margaret Gray is working on a dance routine, so she's with the band. And so she's like talking to the piano, like, what did you say, Cliff? Yes. And a do-do-do, and a 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, 4. And everyone in the audience is like, you saw there's a few people, they're in on it. They're fans, they got it. And like they all brought a friend who like, what is this? And you see, like for the first 5 minutes, people didn't quite understand what it was, and then they started getting it. And by the time he did Coach Vernon Dozier, he wants to talk to his mama. He did this routine where he's busting the chops of all the guys in the locker room. I'm going to tell you right now, Leonard, look, I'm making you do doubles tomorrow, and I'm only putting you in the first lineup because I owe your dad $40. You know, Carmen, sit down. And like, it was flawless. And he's like looking basically off camera at this imaginary bunch of like, sullen 15-year-old, junior varsity football players. Like, I got a graveyard out there. You're going to dig your own grave tonight. I was like, I got cars with their headlights on. You're going to see the last night of your life digging a grave. And you're never going to see your mama again. And I wrote him the next morning. I said, Phil, it was all great, but Vernon Dozier was like coming from another place. He's brilliant. And he's doing a show at the Irvine Improv. And I'm thinking about, driving out there next month. If I'm not working myself, I'd like to go just watch him do it again. Just because he's so fun to watch him just like get up there and work.
I've never seen him do it live.
Damn, man, it's so much fun.
And it's about time he's up there doing it live.
Yeah,
Good for him.
And you can tell he's really excited because it's a new thing for him.
Yeah.
But
it is amazing, those friends that aren't in on it. When you stare at the sun at first, it kind of hurts your eyes.
Yes.
It takes a while to get through the center of the sun, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah. But for those listening, it's Hendrie. That's his last name, Hendrie.
Phil Hendrie.
And you can go to philhendrie.com and you can listen for free. And it'll just go to Phil Feed, PHIL, and it'll say free stuff. And you can listen to one of the podcasts for free.
Podcast for free, and you get Henry Rollins' podcast for free.
Everything's a lot of new. If you sign up, you can get all the other stuff, which I do.
The premium content.
You get like 1 million hours of material, and so that's always fun. But
your podcast, Henry and Heidi, comes out what day? Every what?
We don't have a schedule yet.
You got to have a schedule. Let me give you one piece of advice. You got to have a schedule because they start to rely on it. They go like, every Tuesday.
That's what I want to do. Yeah. Just so you can go, it's Friday. Yeah. And so what we want to do is do it on Tuesday, do the 72 hours and have it post Friday. Start the weekend. There's your podcast. You're in traffic. You're getting off work. You're happy. Henry and Heidi, if you want. And so we're going to try and do it with regularity, either Monday or Tuesday. So every Friday, consistently, it's on.
Yeah.
Even if we have to stockpile them. and like send in, like do 2 in a day or whatever, and just have them ready. We're just very excited about the idea that someone cares. And it's the best damn thing about being the performer type. When you have an audience, and we discussed it before in this hour, but it's just, I'm 54. I've been in front of people on stage since I was about 18. I've never gotten over it. I've never gotten cured of it. If anything, it gets worse, where I just want to be in front of those people worse than ever. And the idea of a new way to get through to them.
Yeah, but now now somebody in Singapore can just download you.
Absolutely.
Some expat, like I get emails from Australia and New Zealand, people in London. This is your wheelhouse, Henry. You're really gonna be happy about having a podcast.
I'm looking forward to it.
And when you start getting emails from like guys overseas and gals that are like, "Hey, I'm a midwife in Wales," you're going, "Wow," because it's appointment listening.
Yeah, I get that with my radio show because it's streamed after it goes live. It goes and you can download it.
Yeah.
And I get letters from Russia, Suriname. I mean, everywhere there's internet, there's some guy saying
skeletons in Uzbekistan.
Right.
Well,
there's like, hey, I'm a British architect. I'm in Dubai for a year doing this thing. Thank you for your radio show, man. You're saving me.
Yeah.
And you become a real asset to someone who is.
This is when they go. I had an 18-hour road trip, so I didn't listen for about a month. So I had a whole bunch in a row.
I used to subscribe to another radio podcast where you could download them, and I would be flying to Europe or something. I would save up a week's worth and go, okay, thank you. And it was always great. Right. It's a great thing.
Well, your podcast will come out with regularity when you pick a day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hand this to you. My wife wrote this for you to read. Margaret Atwood, Variations on the Word Sleep. And I'm well into Black Spring. Well done, and thank you for the recommendation. Henry and Heidi is the podcast, henryrollins.com. Any book, any of them, you will get your money's worth. This is a hardworking man. And you know what, my man? First time, it was kind of like a first round of like a boxing match. We're kind of circling, nice, touch gloves. Now I'm very confident you and I are friends, and it makes me very happy.
Oh, well, it's nice. I feel the same way. And I just felt really bad as we were talking the first time we kind of met, where I didn't really get it at first. Because I don't like being disrespectful to anybody. No. Even people I don't like, I at least like to be respectfully.
We got that out of the way.
I know, but I was like, wow, that was a bad opportunity.
Look, we now have Phil Henry.
Yes.
But that's
well, I'm glad you're going to text him.
That's the panacea.
I'm not on that level with the man.
Things.
So, but you tell him I said hello.
You just said you emailed the guy.
I emailed him, but I don't have a text thing. I emailed him, and you know what? The nice thing, he emailed me back. I said, hey, I was at the show last night.
Then you have it. What are you talking about?
Well, I went to his website and just left a message. And he emailed me the next day. And he said, wow, man, thank you so much for showing up. I mean, that was really cool of you. I was so glad it meant something to him. But I email people. You know, I'm a fan of so many bands. I was at a show last night. I was up until I got home this morning at like 1:05 in the morning. There's I don't know how much you dig on music, like if you like buy records and have a lot of music in your life. Okay. There's a guy, and forgive me if we talk about him.
Corey just told me I'm running out of room on my phone because I got too much music.
There you go. There's a guy named Ty Segall.
No.
The guy makes a record like every 6 months, and there's not one bad one in the bunch. And he has like this band, this band, this band. And there's another guy named John Dwyer who has a band called the OCs. TheOhssees.
Say it again.
The OCs. THEE, new word, OH, new word, SEES. And John Dwyer, he's the guy. He owns a record label called Castleface, great records. And he's very prolific. And there's not one bad record. The guy's been making records forever. They're all great. And I'm such a fan. And we're kind of pals. I've never seen him play. Because I find out about gigs a week later. So a buddy of mine wrote me the other day, Larry Hardy, who runs and operates an amazing record label called In the Red, killer label. We're pals. And he writes me, he said, Ty Segall and his band Fuzz, he has a band called Fuzz, Ty and the OCs are playing at this bar in Los Feliz, free admission, and it's happening on Monday. And I said, thank you, because those are gigs I find out 2 weeks later. Hey, did you see? I'm like, of course not, because I'm an old guy, and no one tells me
People
anything.
forget to tell you, but they gave you the hip. They gave you the knowledge.
So I parked, walked in.
Where was it?
It's at a bar called The Griffin in Los Feliz. Nice place. And so at 10:22 last night, Fuzz goes on, and they just killed it. They're so good. And then like half an hour later, they change over, and the OCs go on. And people come here, they recognize me. They go, hey, great to see you here. And I would say, I've never seen the OCs. And they're, really? Oh, are you in for a treat? I said, it's great, right? They said, Henry, get ready. I go to a lot of gigs. I buy a lot of records. I'm a music nut. Like, I'll go without food for records. It's one of the best damn bands I've seen in years.
Really?
And I see bands whenever I can, and I'm a crazy fan. He has 2 drummers now. They ran me over like a truck. I will walk on bare feet through fields of glass to see them play again.
The OCs.
The OCs.
T-H-E-E.
Ty was great. Amazing. But I'd never seen John and company play live, and it just plays. And every once in a while,
he describes them completely. Like, one guy's on the roof, like jacking off, and he's a preacher's son, and he's crazy. He winds up walking off a goddamn pier.
Yep.
But he like idolizes those guys. And when I read that, that's the first page and a half.
Yeah.
And I went, damn, Henry Rollins did not steer me wrong. Read Black Spring by Henry Miller.
It's a good one. And Miller wrote, like 9 feet of books. And I've read about 8.5 of them. I don't think they're all necessary, in that when he came back from Paris, and Black Spring was written in Paris when he was like starving and lean and, really living wild. He came back to America, became successful later when his books were no longer banned. And as an older guy, you see him in Playboy playing ping pong with a naked woman. He's just kind of having an amazing, crazy life. And he came to Pacific Palisades to live. And he wrote a lot. And it's very happy and kind of fluffy. But the real meat of Henry Miller was all the writing in France.
George Carlin lived here, too. I move here when everybody moves out. He's dead. They're both dead now. Yeah. I got to figure out, I got to do like a cursory search of who's in the Palisades now.
Actually, it's your attitude, Chris. All right, Jay.
Well, Chris, because we were doing walking earlier.
Was it that?
You interviewed me on the Henry Rollins show. Is there a question that you wish you did ask at the time that you forgot?
Maybe I told you this, Jay. I apologize for that.
I don't care at all. What do I care,
no,
Mike?
It's not nice to offend people.
Yeah, I'm offended.
I was kind of humana in front of him.
First of all, I've read Get in the Van 3 or 4 times, and I know how you are, like sitting, media, any types of things like this. So just the fact that you're here twice, I feel kind of like...
I was very pleased.
I was pleased
when the call
as well.
came in. I was like...
So you calling me Chris, I could give a shit.
Heidi, the boss, said... she said, hey... another Jay Mohr podcast. I went, wow, okay. Well, that's cool. Because I really enjoyed the last time sitting right here with you. But when I interviewed Walken, I was a little intimidated because he's so Walken all the time.
Of course.
Yeah, you meet him and he's doing that thing. So either he's not acting or he's like that all the time. And we were all kind of like, wow, because we're all such fans. And I was kind of...
He's out there.
I was like, how do I approach this guy? Because he's coming from a different place. And I was like, any article to be fascinating. Because when you can post with anonymity, you will finally write what you really want to say. Like if you can log on as like Patriot Squirrel number 141.
Milkman 420.
Yeah. You can be full frontal.
Right.
Here's how I am. Because no one will go, I know where you live. People are saying like, must be nice to be able to, fly some drones over a border in dispute. Ooh, like really? Damn, man. You can't do anything without someone going like, must be nice. I mean, you could cure blindness and there'd be someone like, oh yeah, so you're the cure blindness guy.
Way to go.
Yeah. Way to go. You must
now
think you're
Stevie
pretty
Wonder's
cool.
going to freak out because all these things to digest right before he dies. Way to go. But you know what?
And Ray Charles had a whole life of blindness. Where were you then, man?
Where were you?
And so,
where were you?
You must reconcile yourself.
Little
basically.
late, dude.
Yeah. Nice one. Good timing. You must reconcile yourself to the fact that no matter what you do, you will let down someone in this life. You will anger someone. And you could be Mother Teresa, like nothing but goodness and light. And someone like Mother Teresa, she cut in front of me at Denny's. I think someone will find something.
I know it was her.
She owes me $40. And so
my wife had a great take on the internet. She said it's the world's largest bathroom stall. You scroll whatever you want and you just move on. And then you come in a month later and you're reading and you go, hey, what did I do? How did I get in this?
Yeah.
It's just a giant bathroom stall.
And, if you're smart, you'll find times to not be on it. Because there's a whole life out there.
You could read books. You turned me on to Black Spring by Henry Miller. And I got to tell you, my friend, first page, I'm I don't know what the correct word is. It just swallowed me whole.
Yep.
First page. And especially, I had it out. The boys you worshipped when you first came down into the street remain with you all your life.
Yep.
And that whole nostalgic but bittersweet, sort of acidic tongue way that Henry writes about just those guys, those older boys, those boys, like if you were 10, they were 13 or 14, and your need to impress them and be around them, and you can remember their names, changing your
They
pocket.
knew the world,
and
you didn't.
Last Friday, Allison Cohn made her status FBF to a pic of me as a pipsqueak. Awkward. It got 59 likes and 12 comments. Impressive, Allie. Geico also has a comment on your Flashback Friday. Did you know Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years? Bet you didn't even know they made cars back then. And if you think your flashback is awkward, you should see our pic. Hashtag blurry. Hashtag over 75 years of savings.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
If you want a battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Hey, man!
Whatever you want.
You don't mind if I videotape?
No, you go ahead.
It's like 1.5 minute increments. And then we blur out your face and change your voice, like on Dateline.
There's that series on A&E right now on Netflix, Gangsters.
Yeah, they're like,
And they always have someone in a dark room.
I went out with him for 28 years. He killed my dad.
None of these people could be on the record because they all get found like in a car trunk in the river.
Are you rolling? Are you recording? Henry Rollins back again. First of all, thank you for coming back. We were just talking about those shows like Murder, Inc., Gang Wars.
Right. They're very popular.
And they always blur out the guy's face because he'll get, like, as you said.
Oh, they'll get killed.
Yeah.
And there's this series, I guess an A&E series, and it's actually really well done. Drug runners, kingpins, queenpins, and the body count is really sad. And it's a lot of, New York in the 80s, crack, and people are just dying all over. And where I come from in Washington, D.C., same thing. For a minute there, they called it D.C. Death Capital, because per capita, it was like the place to go get killed for nothing. And they always have these people, like, shrouded in darkness with...
You can't know who I am.
Yeah,
and it's like some woman, but it's like pitched down. Like
they modulate the voice.
I was married to him for 8 years.
All my best sketches, I think, are 25, 30 years after the fact. Like, I always thought it'd be great if, like, no, don't worry, we're going to modulate your voice. Nobody will know it was you. And then you have, like, a drug snitch. Just completely nothing changed. Like, you just film him, and then all you do is modulate his voice. And then the guy gets, like, he comes to you because he's going to get whacked. And you're like, we changed your voice.
Yeah,
what do you want from us?
Yeah.
He's like, but you didn't change my face. Well, Jesus Christ, if you're going to split atoms, who knew? Henry Rollins has his own podcast, Henry and Heidi.
Yeah.
Heidi's been filming you on the henryrollins.com website.
For years.
And odd things that people want to see Henry Rollins do. I saw you singing The Bitches Back by Elton John. And by the way, excellent job, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we have an iPad, as you do, and you can video. So we run errands all the time. We work at the office. And she's always turning it on. All of a sudden, I'm on. It's like, hey, and we're filming you. And she catches me off guard quite a bit. So the other day we're in the car and she turns on the radio and Break On Through to the Other Side by the Doors. We haven't aired that one yet. Comes on. And of course I just start, winging it. And she's filming it. And then we hit a traffic light and she pauses it and Elton John comes on and I just start, goofing around. Because anytime there's a camera on, I got to start acting out. And so we posted it. You can post it on your website or whatever. And it's interesting the reaction you get. For us, we're just goofing around. It's all in fun. Who doesn't like Elton John? I'm a huge fan since I was like 11.
Yeah.
You get this email, like, who do you think you are? Trying to be Elton John. You. You're like, really?
I'm trying
You watched it for free. It's like, I don't know, 100 seconds of me just being a horse's ass. I offended you? You're all about yourself, man. You doing Elton John. Like, how dare you? Where do you get off?
I like the assumption that you were trying to be Elton John.
Yeah,
like
there
trying
I
to
am.
transport yourself into Elton John and his Pete Rose haircut.
Yeah, here I am with my toupee and my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
I believe you guys know my husband, Heidi.
Yeah. And it's just incredible. You do something and you're just goofing around, but that's public opinion. People get to have an opinion, but you can do anything. And I learned a good lesson not very long ago that it doesn't matter what you do, someone will find a way to run you down.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's been coming up a lot lately on this podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, I noticed it I was watching the news and George Clooney's on. And I was reading an article about him online. And I think he's a tremendous actor. Count me as a fan. I think he chooses his scripts very well. I think Michael Clayton, that movie, which I've seen 3 times, that was an Oscar that he was denied. Tilda Swinton got one because she's amazing and she killed it.
And she looked like Ziggy Stardust.
Yes. I met her once. She's tremendous.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
She is
I always
awesome.
like to hear it. Yeah. Good.
I interviewed her. She was really, really cool. Anyway, I'm a fan. So I read an article, and he's very kind of an aw shucks kind of guy. I mean, I don't know him. I'm just a fan. And they said, so wait a minute. South Sudan just became the newest country in the world. They broke from Sudan, and there's trouble on the border. And Mr. Clooney, you, with the money you make from that coffee thing he does, like little coffee cups you pour the water through, you've taken part of your money from that, which is probably an obscene amount of money, and you've put surveillance drones in the sky to monitor the border to make sure Sudan does what they said they were going to do with the border agreement. And you're helping people from getting killed just because you're cool like that. He went, well, you know what? It's a good thing to do. It's a new country. The border's unstable. He's been there. I've been there. And they need help. And it's true because Sudan is not playing well with South Sudan. And they're like, no, we're moving the border and we'll kill you if you get in our way. And all of a sudden, there's film surveillance. He's doing this just because he's a nice guy and he can afford it. He has a few odd dollars. So I find the postings underneath almost